Hi there, my name is Carol Rizzolo and I'm a resident of Guilford, and this is a public service announcement about the 2 ballot questions that will be on our ballot November 6th. So it's really important that all of the voters who see this know what the questions are, understand them, and most importantly, take the time to vote on not only your candidates, but also on these ballot questions. So, when you go into the ballot box on November 6th, you'll be handed a ballot that looks something like this. If you can't see that, don't worry about it. At the end of this PSA, public service announcement, we're going to have these scanned into the end, so you'll be able to see it, pause it, and see it a little bit closer up. So, as we all know, when we go into the ballot box, we vote for our candidates, right? You see them across here, their parties, as well as their names. But what I really want to highlight is what's going to be the same through all of the ballots across the entire state. And that's right here on the right-hand side are going to be 2 ballot questions. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I apologize if this kind of puts you to sleep, but I want to read the language of the ballot question, and then I'm going to take a moment to explain it. Okay, so number 1 says, shall the Constitution of the state be amended to ensure, 1, that all monies contained in the Special Transportation Fund be used solely for transportation purposes, including the payment of debts of the state incurred for transportation purposes, and 2, that sources of funds be deposited in the Special Transportation Fund, in said fund, so long as such sources are authorized by statute to be collected or received by the state. So what does that actually mean? Connecticut Transportation Revenue Lockbox Amendment is about the creation of a transportation lockbox. In 1984, the Connecticut Special Transportation Fund, the STF, was established to provide a dedicated fund that would invest in our state transportation system. The STF is funded by various motor vehicle and gasoline taxes, as well as a portion of our state sales tax. This lockbox amendment would ensure that state transportation funds be used only for transportation purposes. A yes vote supports the formation of the lockbox. A no vote allows the state legislature to continue rating transportation funds for other purposes. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause. That's the end of the first ballot question. Again, it's number 1 over here on the right-hand side. Yes ensures the formation of a lockbox, that money raised for transportation goes to transportation. No says we're not going to lock that money up, and funds raised for transportation can be used for any other shortfalls that the state says they can be used for. Okay, number 2. And again, I'm going to read the language and then I'll explain it. Number 2, shall the Constitution of the state be amended to require, 1, a public hearing and the enactment of legislation limited in subject matter to transfer, sale, or disposition of state-owned or state-controlled real property or interests in real property, in order for the General Assembly to require a state agency to sell, transfer, or dispose of any real property or interest in real property that is under the custody or control of the agency. And 2, if such property is under the custody or control of the Department of Agriculture or the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, that such enactment of legislation be passed by a 2/3 vote of the total membership of each House of the General Assembly. It's a fairly complicated one to read, but this is ballot question number 2, and the title of it may help make it make sense. It is the Connecticut Legislative Requirement to Transfer State Properties Amendment. Unfortunately, up to now, the Connecticut General Assembly has the authority to allow the state to sell or transfer or swap our public lands, such as our public parks, such as Hammonasset, to developers with only a simple majority of votes in the legislature, and more importantly, without a public hearing. Many of us remember the 2012 Haddam land swap, where it had to do with developers, Hammonasset, and swapping lands up into Haddam. The second part of this second ballot question would be that it requires a 2/3 majority vote in the Connecticut legislature to authorize any transfer, sale, or disposal of any land under the control of the state agriculture or environmental protection departments. A yes vote on this agrees that public hearings are a must and the legislative vote must be passed with 2/3 majority in each chamber. A no vote allows our elected officials to make decisions about our state-owned lands without our knowledge or consent. I would encourage you to listen to both of those, to read them carefully, make up your decision. Personally, I will be voting for transparency, and I will vote yes on both of those ballot questions. Thank you for listening. Again, at the end of this PSA, we are going to have the ballot questions up there, along with what the ballot will look like. And so thank you for listening. Take care. See you at the voting booths.